What happens to creativity when machines can mimic everything? Have you wondered where creativity is heading now that we live in a world with AI? Because the world is changing fast, and the way we express ourselves, tell stories, and connect with others is changing as well. And creativity that goes with that is shifting in ways that we've never seen before. This video is the end of the first chapter in creativity and personal expression, this journey that we've been going on for the last 10 videos. But it's also the beginning of a much bigger conversation. If you're new here, hi, I'm Tom Sargent. I'm a marketer, storyteller, creative, and I'm exploring the intersection between creativity, meaningful impact, and this changing world that we're living in, and what it means to create purposeful work. Over the last 10 episodes, we've explored what it means to create with honesty, overcome fear, overcome creative blocks, tune in to inspiration and what the world is asking us to create, and how all of that shapes us as people through expression. And what I've learned is that, and what I've shared, is that creativity isn't just an output. It isn't just about creating something, blogs, videos, content, feeding the algorithm. It's much more than that. It's, at its simplest form, a mirror and a reflection of how you are interpreting the world, the experiences you've been on, and how you can express that in new and meaningful ways. It reflects who we are, how we feel, how we think, how we connect with others, and ultimately where we want to go and where we want to progress. We talked about the art of embracing imperfect ideas and creating bad ideas purposefully, how to share your work despite the fear of judgment and the fear of getting started, how to learn to love the process, not just the outcome and deliverable that you're producing, letting go of productivity guilt and the hustle, and how to see creativity as not this machine that you need to power, but really as a signal that you need to tune into to really get the most out of it. And all of those videos weren't just tips, they were more like survival tools and guidelines to creating better creativity and rising up through the noise and the fast moving world that we live in at the moment, and finding a way to be creative as a human without sacrificing your soul. But here's the challenge. That world that we've been talking through, and that world where we're trying to be creative in, it's under a lot of pressure at the moment through new technologies, new cultures, changing forces within the world, both from like a economic standpoint, but also a creative and productivity standpoint. The big elephant in the room is AI. Over the last, 12 months or so, we've seen that AI can write, paint, edit, compose, and what that's led to is this weird interaction where everybody is reproducing and recreating the same things because that's one, what the algorithm is telling them is performing, which then feeds into what AI is creating, which feeds into what they want to create, and then the algorithm, and we go round and round. And it's very hard for individuals to break out of that when they're so ingrained and so instilled to look at the performance metrics and to keep doing the things that are performing well, because that's human nature. We get satisfied when we feel like we're succeeding, and those metrics feel like we're succeeding. What they tell us makes us feel like that, and it's very hard to break out of that cycle. And so stories and storytelling is being flattened into templates to feed that cycle and to work within that cycle. This has sort of coincided with the transition from cinema to streaming to short form content, and all of that is filling into this sort of cyclone of noise and repetition that is almost overwhelming to be a part of and be within. We all feel it, deep down within us that I need to get off social media, I need to spend less time on TikTok, I need to break free of these chains and these shackles. But it's not an easy thing to do. And I'm also not saying that these tools are inherently bad, they're just tools. It's very much the way that we're utilizing them and the way that we're consuming them that might not be best for us. And I guess the question that we need to ask ourselves is, what is best for me? What is going to be left when everything is automated? And what's going to make my creative desires feel fulfilled and help me to stand out above all of that noise, which is incredibly heavy. So here's some of the things that I have been thinking about recently and some of the things I believe. Firstly, creativity that's rooted in emotion and connection will always stand out. An AI can mimic art, it can recreate Studio Ghibli, it can write blogs that satisfy a shallow answer, but it cannot create things that truly make your hair stand up on your arms and really make you feel, make you cry, make you laugh. It can't do that. It's too cold and it's too synthetic. So anything creative that you can do that really taps into emotion on a purest level will always stand out. That's never going to come under threat from AI or hopefully from any technology. Secondly, there are things such as culture, timing, intuition, trends, taste. These are things that are innately human and are very, very hard for any model or algorithm to reproduce. It can follow them once they have been established, but it will never set them. One of the biggest ways that we see this is when a new AI model comes out, people pile onto that, and there's these bandwagons that come away, and everybody just does the same thing. For example, with OpenAI and ChatGPT's new image model, we saw this flood of Studio Ghibli recreated arts and like these sort of packaged action figure images. I've no idea where they came from or who did it first, but it's a clear indication of how a human came up with something novel, it gained some momentum, and then everybody jumped on and the AI started being able to do it very well. But it didn't have the idea originally. The culture, the intuition, the taste, the trend was set by a human. And that can't ever really be encoded or predicted. It can be followed, but it can't be the first mover. The third thing that I always try and keep at the front of my mind when I'm thinking about AI is that creativity and ideas give meaning and purpose to the machines, not the other way round. The invention of fire was incredible, but fire on its own, meh. It's really useful when you use it to cook, to craft, to heat a home, to power an engine. We have to give it a purpose, and it's really about harnessing the tool in the correct way, and that is really what gives meaning and gives power to these new tools such as AI today. It's very important to remember that, creativity and ideas give purpose to AI. And the fourth and probably the biggest thing, and I've spoken about it before, is that authenticity is the most important thing in creating anything. Doesn't matter what medium it is, but it's the only way that you will truly make a connection with someone else. Whether you're sculpting pottery, writing a book, creating art, creating videos, making a game, it doesn't matter. The authenticity is the thing that people latch onto. And as AI and things become easier and the barrier to entry gets lower, the authenticity is going to become rarer and scarcer, and it's the thing that's going to be the most valuable. So as a creative, it is your responsibility to make that authenticity shine through in everything that it is that you're building. And that brings me nicely onto my next series. I've really enjoyed doing these 10 episodes. I've had some incredible comments. Everybody out there that's been inspired to go on their own creative journey and start by watching my videos, you've made my entire year. It's the whole purpose that I wanted to do this in the first place. So keep doing that. But I want to start looking at a couple of different things. So after this video, I'm going to start producing 2 series and hopefully do 2 videos a week, though we'll see how things go. And I want my next series to be all about understanding this balance between humanity and machines and finding ways to boost and amplify the human aspects that are required, the taste, the intuition, the culture, the meaning behind everything, and ultimately talk about how you can build a creative life and career in this new landscape that's powered by it. I'm going to be calling the series Art, Meaning and the Machine, and it's going to be an exploration into creative work in this AI era. I'm going to be looking at artists and creatives from around the world that are pushing through the noise and what it is about them that's making them so successful in that. We'll also be unpacking some of the philosophical questions around this relationship between man and machine, and hopefully by doing that we'll expose some ways that you can really break through the noise and accelerate as a creative. My other series is going to be the other side of that coin, looking back through history at some of the greater creative minds that we've had. Da Vinci, Van Gogh, Steve Jobs, many others, and looking at lessons that we can learn from the way that they operated, because although this is uncertain times for us now in our generation, we would be foolish to think this is the only uncertainty that's ever happened in history. Many of these creatives grew up in uncertain times and they managed to thrive. So there must be techniques and things that we can learn from them to do the same now. So if you found meaning in this first series, first of all, thank you for being here. And if any of that sounds appealing to you, please subscribe and follow along. I've absolutely loved making these videos. It's helped me to reconnect with my own creative bone and my own creative DNA. And now it's time to go even deeper. So subscribe, join me in the next chapter, and let's keep creating, but not just for the algorithm, for ourselves and for the world. I'll see you there.